Hello, everybody, and welcome to Faffing with Friends. Guys, I'm really excited today. I'm beyond excited.
Yeah, I can tell.
We have another guest. As you know, you guys love our guests, and today we have someone very special. Today we have a musician who has done quite well for himself, actually. He's a pretty big deal, if I do say so myself. He's an absolute talent, and just an overall very swell dude. And I would like us all to give Rob from Chasing There a very warm Faffing welcome. So, yay!
Yeah! Welcome, Rob.
Well,
Thank you very much. What an introduction.
thank you. Thank you for being here, first of all. And if you don't mind, we're going to be asking you some questions, with obviously the inevitable first one being the unfortunate question about the pandemic and how it has impacted you as a musician, if you don't mind us getting the rough stuff out of the way first.
Well, yeah, that's one way of doing it. Yeah, a nice negative start.
Yeah!
Hell yeah.
The pandemic. Well, do you want an answer that's a little bit different? I've actually enjoyed the large majority of it.
High five, brother.
Awesome.
It's it's been. I mean, I've still been going out and performing for the month that we've been allowed to. So that was kind of May onwards, and I kind of thought, if it's safe, if I'm going out, if I'm cheering people up. I can't remember the figure, but I think it was about 174 days without a break that I went out playing.
That's
amazing.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
So, it's good for my mental health to get out. It's good for other people to, know that the world hasn't ended. Overall, it's been a nice time to relax and look at stuff again and maybe rejig how I do my my art, really. But yeah, obviously it's not all good, and people have been affected in so many ways. But yeah, I've kind of enjoyed the change, really. It's being a musician's pretty much like being in a pandemic for the whole of your life anyway. we have weird hours, and we get back at strange times. We usually don't see people for lots of hours of the day, and then we like to lock ourselves in our room to write music. So it's not that different, apart from the cough.
Yeah, well, that actually leads into my question perfectly, which is, did you get any inspiration for being locked in for certain points of time? Did it help you actually come up with new music? Did it help you write something?
Well, unfortunately, it's not the best answer, but I pretty much had a year off being creative, and just performed every day, which was really nice. So I was learning 10 new songs a week to add to my repertoire. So I've got well over 500 songs now to perform. And I've just been performing other people's songs, a few of my own, and just concentrating on enjoying it and making money from music, basically. And I didn't have much inspiration at all. I didn't really have much, I couldn't really push myself to record or write many songs. But in the last few weeks, when things have opened up a little bit, I've been full steam ahead. I've got a lot of different projects going at the moment.
Awesome.
That's good.
Absolutely amazing to hear. And I was actually going to ask you about one of your latest projects. We're going to go and talk about the history of the band later on, but I remember you guys were literally just about to release a new album, Bad Decisions.
Oh, wow.
Before
Yeah, that was it.
the pandemic started. I think it was literally 2 weeks before they announced the lockdown. So what happened with Bad Decisions?
Yeah.
Because the only thing I can see on Spotify is still the Bad Decisions single, but there's no album out. So
Yeah, no, so we... Bad Decisions was a single, and we had a whole tour around that.
Yeah.
So we were actually meant to go to areas of the UK that we've never been to before. We were going to go to Scotland and all over up north, and get down to Exeter and a few in Cornwall and things like that. And we never got to do that tour, unfortunately, because the pandemic kicked in. But maybe 2 weeks before it started, we were actually, one of the last tour dates we did was over in LA. Which was nice. So it was even more of a bigger come down, coming back from a tour in America to City Inside My Lounge.
yeah, that must have been a big switch. But
yes, it was. But it was good to get out, and that was February. I think that was March 2020. So maybe 3-4 weeks before full lockdown came in the UK.
Yeah, I get you. Joe, my friend, you've been very quiet, man. Ask our friend a question.
I've been waiting to ask a question. Rob, you wrote Unstoppable for Pride London.
Oh, I did.
So what inspired you to do that?
Well, this is back a few years ago, we were applying to every place we could play, every festival, and we applied for Pride in London. and we went and met everyone at Pride in London. They were very, very welcoming. It's an amazing community, but it's not a community that we were involved in beforehand. And we were there's so much diversity there. There's so many people from all different backgrounds, and we had so much fun in the competition, which we didn't win. And we also saw so many other good bands that made us step our own game up, that we thought, well, it seems a shame to meet up and do all these, semi-finals and heats and workshops and things like that. It seems a shame that we've put all the effort in and we don't actually get to sing together and play together and, write some music. So the idea was very similar to Band Aid, which is my dream. I think my main musical dream would be just Bob Geldof calling up and saying, we're doing 20th attempt at Band Aid. Do you want to be part of it? So I thought maybe let's do our own little version of Band Aid, but with all the LGBTQ plus artists in Pride in London. So everyone was involved, including people that sing opera, including people that sing pop music, jazz, all different genres of music as well. And we thought, do you know what? If we're going to be on stage in Trafalgar Square, which is the kind of the heart of Pride in London, we thought, well, we may as well all do a song together because, there's lots of reasons for Pride, obviously, and it is still at its heart a protest, but it's also reaching out to the world and accepting everyone. So we thought, what better way to do that than music? So yeah, pretty much on that track, you can hear over 25 voices, I think, all singing little lines, and then the big chorus, and there's lots of different things in there. So it was just something very, very different to our normal music and kind of celebrating the acceptance that we felt in that community, and also, it really opened our mind up to be better people, hopefully. So that was the idea behind it.
That's an absolutely wonderful story, man. And I actually want to touch up on some of the other stuff that you've done, because from my personal experience with you guys, you are a very, very inclusive band. Like, when I met you guys, you had just released Hands On, your debut.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And the cover of Hands On is actually a sign language. It's sign language, right? That whole album was based around sign language, and I believe every single one of your singles had not singles, but every single one of your songs had a different sign language, different sign language interpretation. So, would you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, do you know what? It seems like a long, long time ago.
It really does.
Yeah. 2018. But I suppose we've all lost a year or so of our lives, haven't we? Really. But it was the idea came from me just thinking, and this kind of backfired a little bit. But I was thinking it would be great to use. First, it's always great to have an amazing album cover that you're happy having on your wall or on a T-shirt or on a poster. It's nice to have something that lasts. Obviously people are using Spotify and streaming at the moment, but you don't know where we're going to be in 10 years. So I thought it'd be nice to have an iconic looking album that stands out in HMV or wherever. And I thought we were looking through universal signs, things like stop signs, things that people would just know all over the world. And then I came to Fingers Crossed, which I might be wrong, but I assumed that if you went anywhere in the world and crossed your fingers, people would know it meant, hope, luck, that kind of thing. So I thought, we're going for an international audience. We've done lots around the world. So I thought Fingers Crossed would work well. And then we thought, well, why not open this up into sign language? Not full on phrases, but sign language that you could tell what it meant straight away.
Yeah.
So, a thumbs up is going to be a positive thing or whatever. And, that's where it came from. Just wanting to have something that was accessible to everybody. And then it became even more accessible because we got involved in the BSL, British Sign Language community.
Yep.
And, we started making our shows, accessible to deaf audiences and things.
Well, that's what I meant, man. Like, you guys have done so much unique and impressive things, and it's just very inspiring to see an up-and-coming band just do that.
Yeah, thank you.
For those of you that don't know, the story how I met Rob and how I met Chasing Deer was actually through my current blogger co-writer, Aaron. Aaron had been working for the university newspaper, and he had actually scored an interview with Chasing Deer, and he was like, well, do you wanna come and meet these guys? I think they're gonna be right up your alley. And that's how I went, and we met them. The show was great. They did an amazing cover of Fleetwood Mac's Don't Stop, which is one of my favorite songs. It's a great song.
Yeah.
And then later on, we actually brought Chasing Deer to headline one of the many infamous Glastonbury events, which they absolutely knocked it out of the park. And ever since then, I've just been keeping up with their career, and I'm very happy to see that they're still alive and kicking, and just big things for the future. Big things for the future, hopefully.
Yeah, well, that was the Hope and Anchor, wasn't it, that you came to?
Yeah, the Hope and Anchor in Islington.
That was a good night, actually.
Yeah.
It was it's a great venue, and thank God it's still going, because there's so many venues that have shut over lockdown and stuff like that, and actually some of them permanently. So it's great to see venues that have survived the pandemic, really.
Yeah, it's 100% accurate.
That actually leads to another one of my questions, and I was going to ask, out of all the venues you've ever performed at, do you have specific favorites? Like a few you would recommend to anyone to go check out? The ones you loved playing at the absolute most?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think probably favourite gigs are different to favourite venues. I kind of like historic venues. I think if you're going to play anywhere, then certainly in London, we are blessed with places like the Albert Hall, where we've done a festival. And where else have we been? Do you know what? I always like playing in big warehouses, churches, places with a great acoustic. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd recommend anywhere specifically, but I think the Albert Hall is world famous, and I think it's definitely mind-blowing when you walk in.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful ass place. You go in and you're just overwhelmed by how incredibly large it is, how many people it can fit.
I suppose one place that was fun, because it was just very different, it's always nice to do things that are just slightly out the ordinary, and playing in the Natural History Museum was a good one. It was at Christmas time, and they have a big ice rink outside there. We got to play as part of the museum, which was amazing.
Yeah, that's a very unique venue to end up playing in. See, that's the kind of answer I was looking for.
Well, you'll have to edit out the rest, but it's it's great to play in places that you're not meant to play music. It feels like you're kind of breaking the rules a little bit, and even down to we played in a library in Coventry for they were celebrating the City of Culture in Coventry, which has just started. And we got to play in their central library. And the great thing about that was we were live on the radio, but nobody else in the library was aware that it was allowed. So we had a lot of students who were all reading in silence. We suddenly started up a full band, and their faces were priceless, and it was great. And it was actually, it made it even better to know that I was annoying them.
Classic. That's absolutely amazing.
Well, speaking of all the wonderful venues that you've performed at, Rob, you had over 1,500 non-stop performances, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And in addition to all the great places that you've just mentioned, you've also performed at the Houses of Parliament, the NME Awards.
Yes.
And also for the President of Kenya.
Yep.
That is amazing. Now, how did you score that?
There's so many strange little, ways into stuff. But I mean, the thing I tell other musicians when they ask how we get these opportunities is pretty much always say yes to every opportunity. Yeah. So, that's how we get to different places. Sometimes it's just being there at the right place and the right time. Sometimes it's what's the word I'm thinking of? Like a miscommunication or something, especially with people from abroad. So, for example, we go to Amsterdam and we go over to Holland and play a lot, and that's all came about from a misunderstanding, because a family saw us playing in central Amsterdam busking, and they picked up a business card from us which had an 07 UK mobile number on it. But 07 is actually the landline number if you live in Amsterdam.
All right.
So they thought, this band is great. They must live in Amsterdam with that number. So they called us up and they said, we want you to come and do, play in our restaurant. Very fortunately for us, we replied with, we're flattered, but we're actually from the UK. And that turned into them paying for us to go over there, staying there for a while.
Excellent.
And we've actually been back every year since for about maybe 4 years. I think we've certainly gone 4 or 5 times. And that all came about through a misunderstanding, which is very, very similar to the Kenya story. We went out performing in Oxford Circus the day after the terror attacks in London.
Right.
Because we actually wanted to make a statement that London's still going, and statistically, probably you're less likely to be involved in something the day after one that's already happened. So we thought, well, why don't we go out and entertain the tourists who still will be visiting London despite everything that's happened. And someone walked past from the Kenyan tourist board who worked at the Kenyan embassy.
Oh my God.
Nearby. And they said to me whilst playing, would you be interested in singing some songs in Swahili or something, along those lines? And when you're playing a song, when you're in the middle of a song, it's very hard to also sustain a conversation, especially when you're the singer. So my response was just like, yeah, that's fine. As quick as I could. Have a card. That's fine with me. And I didn't really think about it. And when I got home, I'd totally forgotten about this. I had an email and it said, great, we're really happy that you're up for singing, 4 or 5 songs in various dialects in Kenya, from different areas of Kenya, one of them being Swahili. And it said, here's all the lyrics, here's all the words. And it was absolutely impossible to do. But thank God we all have YouTube. So we went on YouTube, found some of the songs and pronunciations. One of the biggest challenges we've ever done, because within a week we had Maasai warriors from Kenya visiting West London. We were in Ealing, and there's actually videos of us in the park in Ealing with singing in Swahili. And for us, it was just one of those things that was just see where it goes, just do our best. And they actually got someone down from a university. It might have even been University of West London, and someone from Kenya, a dialect coach, and he said, "Yep, that sounds absolutely perfect."
That's amazing.
Which was a big surprise, and also it was a huge surprise to all the the lovely dog walkers and people doing Tai Chi and everything in the park, to turn around and see, in full Maasai warrior dress with spears and everything, all standing in the park.
I mean, that is just some, I'd say that's some incredible providence. You have been blessed with some luck at times for this to just
definitely,
happen.
yeah. I mean, and that actually went on even further, this story. I mean, as if that wasn't good enough.
Oh, no, we have time. This is the best story we've had on this podcast, so please keep going.
Oh, goodness.
I'm seeing the money signs go.
For your listeners as well, if you go on to my YouTube channel, you can actually see videos in the Ealing Park.
Yeah, the Dear Diaries.
Of us singing. Yeah, well, and it's I'm sure you can imagine how weird it is to walk through a London park and see people quite violently chanting stuff in Swahili.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those videos went well. We got invited to play at the Kenyan embassy in London, and play to some, quite high up people there, who were visiting London. And that video actually went viral.
Amazing.
In Kenya. Now, they use WhatsApp as one of their main, in the same way we might use Instagram, they use WhatsApp. And the video was going round, sent round to lots of people in Kenya. And then we were invited very shortly afterwards to go over and sing in this big festival, that international festival that the president arranges in Kenya, which was amazing. To be honest, to go anywhere in the world and people want you there and people pay for you to go is amazing. I'm willing to go anywhere. But it was, if I'm honest, it's, in music, you get to go to lots of countries that you wouldn't choose to go to on holiday as a first choice. I think that's fair, and for that reason, we've got to see lots of amazing places. So yeah, we got to go over to Kenya and perform, and we were even recognised on the plane to Kenya from Heathrow. A few people going back to Kenya already knew us and had seen the videos.
Did you meet the president? Did you meet the president himself?
Well, yeah, we did. So that was part of Well, we were actually on. It was actually broadcast on national TV, which was amazing. But because obviously in the continent, it's actually TV that goes out to the whole of Africa. So it was amazing being featured on the news there. And I've also taken a screen grab to for my memories, which is a YouTube thing. But it was great, and it's also hilariously funny to look up other people's posting of that video because there's some very interesting titles, such as "Funny White Boy Band Sing Well," which is great. So obviously, I've got that tattooed on my forehead. But it was great, and everyone was so kind there and nice. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm rambling now.
No, that's a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing.
Wonderful story, absolutely, man. Like, hands down.
Yeah, I have some more questions. Now, I tend to ask these of anyone who I know who's, a musician, right? Mm-hmm. And I like to ask them because I feel like these two together tell you a lot about the person and their character growing up as a musician.
Sure.
What got you originally to ever try, creating music? That's number one.
The creation of music, probably a little bit of rebellion, because I was in choirs, church choirs. I was in, musical groups, things like that, from a young age. So from the age of 6, I've been performing every weekend since I was 6.
A fellow choir man. Yeah, I was in one in a primary as well.
There you go. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, I think it's a good start. It's a good musical start. But doing classical music and jazz and musicals and things like that, you look at bands on the TV and on the radio and things, and you think that's much cooler. I want to do that instead. So when I got to about 16, 17, and I was at school, I was one of the first people, if not the first person, to actually have a medical note off PE and rugby, football, things like that, to be able to do band practice instead, which I was very happy by. I'm not against exercise, but I'd much rather do a band practice and make some noise. From about 17 onwards, I've been doing kind of pop music, rock music, as well as everything else.
Right, well, that leads into the second question very nicely, which is, what are the musicians / artists that you loved the most growing up and that inspired your sound the most?
Wow. I don't know if they've inspired my sound, but I had a kind of upbringing of a lot of older music, kind of 60s, 70s stuff. I'm a big vinyl collector.
Yes! Yes! Sorry, I couldn't
You've
contain...
made Ivaylo very happy.
I could not contain myself.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, there's a whole running joke on this podcast about me collecting vinyls, and Lawrence is just... In your face, Lawrence! In your fucking face!
Wow.
That hasn't changed anything. You're still a fucking hipster.
Sorry, go on.
I thought you just won the lottery or something.
I mean, pretty much.
Well, he has.
Wow.
Yeah, he loses so much on this podcast that this is a win
This is
for
a massive
him.
win, but sorry to interrupt you. We'll definitely pick off that point later on. Please continue. Please. Oh, man. Go on. Sorry.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great base. Most people will reply with this, but the Beatles probably the biggest one, just because there's so much to choose from of all different styles. And then I really kind of like the new folk wave that came in terms of Fleet Foxes, maybe a little bit of Mumford and Sons, just because of the vocal harmonies and probably the link back to choirs and doing choral music. And then, a bit of David Bowie, a bit of Elton John, because I'm a pianist as well, Billy Joel. So all very classic music, really.
That's absolutely insane, man. Like, your Spotify says Rick Astley, Elton John, and Hozier. So those are are some pretty amazing combination.
Well, that's kind of my that's kind of the people that I get my voice compared to the most, and I suppose in a way the sound of Chasing Deer is probably mainly identified by my voice, really.
Can I ask you a massive favor now that you've said that?
Maybe.
You probably get this a lot. Can you please just sing the chorus of Never Gonna Give You Up?
Oh, God.
No.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
I think for legal reasons, Ivaylo, we probably couldn't do that.
Snap. Oh, man. Oh.
Yeah, see, Ivaylo's so smart that he's happy to get his copyright.
Bro, it's gonna be a rickroll. That's like, I'm always ready to do it for the meme. But that is so fair enough. Like, yeah.
I didn't want to give you another win so early in the show.
Yeah, you really shouldn't. It starts going to his head. You can tell by the volume.
Nah, I'm sorry. I'm just so excited. Like, this is the best episode I've ever done, and I've done so many with these guys. But man.
The thing you've got to bear in mind sometimes is people see me singing an Elton John song, and then they come up to me and say, "Oh, you sound like Elton John," and my main response usually is, well, yes, that's because I'm playing an Elton John song. So I'm not sure how, I'm not sure how close my voice is really to Elton John. I think people like to point out when they know a song, but it's always a nice compliment. I'm still waiting for his money, but
Of course, I listened to your music when we knew that we were going to interview. And
Sure.
So I want to know, when you want to write a song and even come up with the music for it, what is your creative process?
Yeah, do you have a ritual?
Yeah.
No, not at all. And I wish I did have a ritual, because it would get me into it and get me working probably a lot quicker and smoother. I don't have a ritual, and I know a lot of people do. There's a lot of professional songwriters who wake up every morning, start, and they do 9 to 5, and they work on they work on songs every single day, and they kind of develop a like a songwriting muscle, really. I wait for inspiration, and also have to be on a day where I'm not feeling lazy or sorry for myself, which is not very often. But it's you've caught me at a good time, actually, because a really good example is I found a few new artists last night just on YouTube, recommendations or whatever, or Instagram, and I if I watch their music and I see the enthusiasm and I really like their style, the next morning I will wake up and think, I want to do something that's similar, or sometimes it just enthuses me to continue to do my own style, but maybe in a bit of a competitive way, but also you can hear new things in new music that you think, wow, that's the missing puzzle piece to finish the song I started 7.5 months ago or whatever.
Well, yeah, no, like that's inspiration. You hear something, you love it, you're like, I want to do something too.
Yeah.
It's inspired me. I feel it.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question that I know you have to have gotten before.
Okay.
The band name. How did you arrive?
The
at
classic Lawrence. The classic Lawrence. Go on.
Well, okay. So someone said they like memes. So it actually comes from I don't know if you call it a meme, but a viral video, one of the very early viral videos, which is Fenton the dog.
Fenton! I remember that! In Richmond Park. Yeah.
So yeah, a dog running through Richmond Park after the deer, and then his owner failing to catch him, and shouting "Jesus Christ, Fenton" or whatever.
Yes.
Now that was a long time ago. In fact, I think it was
almost 10 years ago.
Maybe, yeah. It might even be older than that. I'm actually looking it up as we speak. Yeah. So yeah. About 10 years ago. So I saw that video, and I kind of thought at the very beginnings of the band, I thought if people are searching for dog chases deer, or video of chasing deer, or whatever, I thought, well, we'll come up in the search results. So it was very much a marketing thing.
Yeah. That is a very big brain moment, honestly.
And it kind of, on Google for the first year or so, when you put chasing deer in, it came up still with Fenton the dog. But over time, it's taken over, and now hopefully the replies you get on Google, or the results you get on Google, should all be my music, I hope, or very much nearly. So that's the idea of it. Yeah.
You were in it for the long game. You knew the meme would have to die sooner or later, and you were like, yes, I have this.
I assume that the video is going stronger than ever, because it's still very funny, unless it's been sold as an NFT.
Oh,
God.
Which is someone will have a big chunk of their bank account taken out for owning pretty much nothing, but it's it's how the world is. Music is certainly a long game thing anyway.
Yeah.
Even more so actually for people who, in inverted commas, blow up overnight. They actually have a harder job, really.
So is podcasting,
because once you're at the top.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it is certainly.
I actually did want to lean back towards probably my favorite part of this podcast. Well, you already said that you're a vinyl man, and I'm containing the excitement. So how did that happen? Because I know my vinyl story was pretty much, from what I imagine, similar to yours. I discovered a bunch of big old discs, which I didn't know what they were, back in the attic of my parents' house, and some great albums from Jimi Hendrix's Electric Ladyland, which is an original pressing, by the way. And I found found a Beatles love songs. I found Whitesnake. I found Rainbow, and those kind of stuff. Just kind of those were my gateway bands, and then later on I started discovering stuff like the new metal waves. Like I was a big new metal fan back in the day of like Linkin Park and your Deftones and your Korn and like yes, even your Limp Bizkit at my worst days. But you know,
Wow.
So how did that happen for you? And if so, do you have any favorite album, and do you have any favorite vinyl pressing?
Well, so my kind of story into that was I went to see an artist, Duke Special, who's an Irish singer-songwriter with a piano. It kind of inspired me to have a piano on stage and not you know, a piano isn't as cool as an electric guitar.
Yeah.
So my biggest problem with starting a band is always, you know, what do I do with the piano? But he kind of inspired me to go out and play and be proud of it, integrate it into the set. But at the end of the show, he was literally giving out kind of various vinyl records he had, teasers or tasters or whatever. And I went home with this vinyl record, and I didn't know what, you know, I didn't really have any way of playing it or anything like that. So I went to my parents and got an old record player out at the garage, I think, and then took it back to my flat and played it. And it wasn't for quite a few years that I discovered that my dad had a massive vinyl collection because he used to be a DJ in the past. So I actually uncovered a big box of singles, which I didn't play because I kind of find the singles are quite a lot of effort to put on. Just for one or two songs. But yeah, I started buying the records from second-hand shops and things like that. And then I turned it into, when we were going abroad to places for gigs, I always think it's a really nice experience to go into a foreign record store and buy up a few, you know, local bands or maybe big bands in Italy or whatever. And for the price that you buy them for second-hand, if they're rubbish, you know, you can use them as you know, placemats or something afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to open your mind up and find some weird and wonderful stuff.
Speaking of that, I have a very funny story. When I went to France right before the lockdown, I was very much like you. I really like visiting vinyl shops in different countries. So I go to France, and I'm still looking for a Pearl Jam's debut album, 10, and I don't have it on vinyl. I have it now, but I didn't have it at the time. So I'm looking around and I find it, and I'm asking the guy, you know, how much does it cost? And he's like, don't touch it. Like, it's just, don't touch it. I'm like, okay, like, I just want to see how much it costs. And he goes like, 150, and I'm like, 150, I'm thinking like literally like €1.50, but it's like he was actually making like €150. I'm like, nah, I'm sorry, I can't afford that right now. But it's certainly like, again, like I certainly mean like going abroad and going into vinyl shops is something I can definitely relate, because it's also a very nice souvenir. But I'm very happy that, you know, it's a similar story, you know, it's something that gets passed down from the previous generation to us, and one day hopefully we can do that to our own children, you know. Like,
well, with our own children, it'll be someone discovering an iPod. It won't be a record player, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe, but like that's the thing. Vinyls are pretty timeless. Like they still operate significantly well, unless you're mistreating them and just not being sloppy with them. I'm sure Rob can confirm that. You know, you have to really be respectable to your collection. So
yeah, I mean, I've definitely got a lot more than I need, and a lot more than I listen to, which I think is probably. You know, if you buy empty shelves from IKEA, you're going to fill them, aren't you? And,
oh man, you have no idea.
I actually feel a little bit, I feel a bit sorry for any future generations that I'm related to, because they're going to have to lug all this rubbish around. So I might have to cut down it at some point. But it's a great thing to do. I think it's you know, it's another excuse to collect things.
Yeah.
Which is, I seem to think is actually more of a male thing, just to collect junk. But it looks cool, doesn't it? It's,
it
cool
does.
junk. But,
I show it off to every guest I have. Like, look at my vinyl collection.
Oh wow! Well, apologies to them. But I must say, I mean, I'm not gonna geek out over the vinyl thing, but I promise you that when I upgraded my turntable from the, you know, the standard hipster turntable, which I would call the, you know, the little colourful Crossley ones that probably ruin your records.
Yeah.
But when I actually upgraded mine with some proper speakers, when I first put a vinyl record on and turned it up and stood in front of it, it was an actual experience. I can remember the kind of feeling that I had when I put the record on.
Good man.
And the quality of the sound does kind of really go through you and make you feel like you're in the room with the band.
100% correctly. That's exactly why I'll always maintain that vinyl's the superior medium, you know?
But to be fair, the thing that I only had a few weeks ago, I've recently released a little CD of covers, cover songs. And I actually put a CD on a few weeks ago, which, again, no one does anymore, do they? And I was overwhelmed by the increasing quality of CDs, even to Spotify and MP3s. And I put it on in the car. You know, they're not the best speakers in a car, but the quality was so much better. And I think every so often, if you even put a CD on, you'll notice how much we're losing from the quality of music by listening to streaming.
Yeah.
I can definitely agree with that.
But as you said, with NFTs, it's the way of the world. And it seems like everything's getting more digitized as we progress.
Yeah, and it's a good way of archiving things. I mean,
that's right.
You know, obviously there's pros and cons to it, but by the fact that everything's digitized, at least, you know, we're not going to be losing episodes of TV reels and things like that happened in the past. And, you know, if there's a big fire somewhere, at least it's all protected.
Do you guys have a vinyl for hands-on? I'm not entirely sure.
Yes.
Of course, yes. I would love
Excellent.
I would love to get my
That's amazing.
hands on it.
Oh, goodness.
There you go.
How long have you been setting that up, Ivaylo?
For a very long time. I think I made...
If you sign the petition, we can fire Ivaylo. We just need a few more signatures.
Well, I'm already holding a pen, so...
I actually remember, like, one of my... this is a very weird interaction to remember, Rob, but after the Glastonbury event, you were carrying out your amps. And I was helping you guys carry it back to the van. And as you were going, I asked you to go in front of me, and I made the joke saying, "Lead the way." And you just gave me the most disgusting look you could give me. Because "Lead the Way" is one of their, it's a song off their hands-on album. And it's actually, I believe it's a very melodic piano song. So
yeah, it's a nice one actually, but yeah, we do. It was a really nice experience to actually put the music onto vinyl because I got to not only did I get to design the artwork, but I've actually gone specifically for a gatefold. So I've put all the lyrics in there and pictures of all the singles that we released, and it's really nice because people can actually read. From the actual artist what the lyrics are meant to be, because there's so many songs on the radio that you sing along with and you're probably singing over half of it completely wrong anyway. So it's nice to actually have the lyrics as an official guide of what people are meant to be singing.
And that's actually very good for people whose first, I can confirm, for people whose first language is not English. I found that I learned to appreciate music much more when reading the lyrics than when having a lyric sheet, because it's very hard to listen as someone whose first language is in English. I personally always, to this day, still prefer to have lyrics when I listen to music. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And to be honest, that's another accessibility angle that I've never considered actually. But it's I suppose that's very important, really. And it's nice for people to read that. I've actually got a funny story about the lyrics. There's a few people in other countries that love our music, and when we tour, when we're back to live music, people travel from Norway and from Italy to come and see us, which is amazing. But unfortunately, some of them have heard the lyrics to some of my songs and interpreted them in their own way, or maybe in the words they think it is. And some of the official lyric listings for some of the songs, specifically "Rewriting History," which is one of our earlier songs, are absolutely hilarious to read back. And it's pretty much like one of those Google Translate type videos. And when you read the lyrics, they're very different to what they're intended.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, man. Like, again, I feel like it's a very important part of, the whole music experience, and another part of why I appreciate vinyl so much.
So what we just talked about, do you know what I used to love doing when I was young? I don't know if any of you did this. There used to be an entire genre on YouTube back when it was still YouTube was a new thing, where you would have songs with willingly incorrect subtitles. So you would go on there and you'd listen to either foreign music or stuff from Bollywood, or just even English songs now and then where the lyrics were complete bullshit, but they were what you thought you'd hear.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I used to love those because those are so funny.
Yeah,
they did that. They did that with Ozone's Numa Numa song.
Yeah, they did it with everything, dude. Anything that was memeable, you would do it, and it'd be like, wow, this is such a hilarious rewriting, because it always sounded correct. Like if you read the lyrics on screen and listened to the song, it would sound like that is what they're saying.
Do you remember Tay Zonde, who sang "Chocolate Rain" on YouTube? He was they did that for one as well.
Do you guys remember when songs used to get chipmunked?
Yes. Oh,
Oh
God.
gosh, yeah.
That was an error.
Rob, I hope that never happens
yeah,
to
I
you.
hope your song never gets chipmunked.
That was a bad phase. It was a bad
that was
phase.
a very bad phase.
Yeah.
The tragic dark years we do not speak
Yeah,
of.
that was truly depressing.
It's definitely not a good idea to learn our lyrics from online. I actually looked it up. I mentioned rewriting history. So I kind of pride myself in being quite a clear singer. I like to enunciate my words when I'm singing on stage because there's so many modern singers where you just you'd be forgiven for not understanding what the song is at all because but at the end of this rewriting history the words are follow me along, so follow me along repeated with a very clear F, which is on the official lyrics site as hollow tree a dong. So yeah, probably don't learn it from there. There's a lot more that I probably wouldn't put in the a podcast, but someone's obviously thought that's what I was singing, which is nice.
Right.
Wonderful.
Well, Rob, you'd be amazed at what YouTube's AI-generated subtitles are going to be for this episode.
It's
So-
absolutely
Oh, yeah.
insane. Yeah. Don't even get me started. But yeah.
If only I knew how to suggest something, I'd suggest some great things.
Yeah.
But no one knows how it thinks, do they?
No, unfortunately not. No.
Right. We've had an amazing episode. I've had so much fun here, and I actually have one last question for you. Well, actually, two last questions for you. The first one is obviously, what is the future for Chasing Deer? And the last question is, obviously, we did this with the last musical guest we had, but if you can recommend to our listeners anything that you've been listening to right now, or anything that you recommend people go and listen to. Yeah, because you mentioned you discovered some artists last night, didn't you? So anything that you currently jam to, it would be nice to recommend. But yeah, those are the two questions I have for you.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Shall I answer them in the order you asked them?
Yep, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So what's coming in the future? Well, hopefully, for all of us, let's hope live music's coming back to venues. We're not sure at the moment. We're still doing a few shows and things. We played in a few venues last weekend, but people are still a little bit cautious of live music and how it's going. And specifically when we played recently, people were standing up and dancing to the music, and they were told that they had to sit down at their tables and kind of dance from their chairs, which is a weird experience, I think. So I can't wait for real live music to come back, to be able to tour again. Specifically abroad as well, it's always great to do that. So I'm hoping that we can get in the tour that we were meant to do across the UK and various venues. That would be amazing. And I am writing new music. I am still live streaming every week. So I started live streaming at the start of lockdown, which I thought would be 2 or 3 weeks. So not a huge
Didn't we all?
commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and literally I'm on week 60 or so now of my Facebook live stream.
Wow.
So I'm continuing that. That's been a good community on there. People have been really supportive. And to be fair, it's a massive commitment. Some people have watched every single episode.
Wow.
So I'm really grateful of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of new songwriting projects, lots of new songs coming from me. Kind of a little bit of a rebrand of the band. We've had members come and go, as we have. I think we've had now 11 lineups of the band. So we've had lots of people come and go anyway. It's always been a little bit of a kind of a community collaboration project with me as the frontman, I suppose.
Yeah.
So my voice is the consistent thread through the noise that is Chasing Deer. But yeah, in the future we've got some. I hope that the kind of the newer songs that I release get better each time, even through me learning and experiencing different things and working with a better team of people. But I mean, the most recent song I released, "Scared," that got over 100,000 plays, which is, I'm not on a label. I'm not supported by anyone. I haven't even got.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm hoping to build on that kind of thing in the future, really. So that's where we're going.
Awesome.
Excellent. Now, Rob, in addition to your remarkable music that I really enjoyed, I'm very fascinated by your work ethic. I believe I've seen a picture of you performing in a sling.
Oh God.
How did you continue going on when you had what looks like a broken arm?
Well, I mean, it depends how long you have for that story. It's another interesting story, and
We've got time. Go ahead.
okay. So the end of the Kenya story. Do you know what I should do? I've listened to so many podcasts where they leave the listeners hanging and they save the best bit of the story for the next episode. But I'm going to tell you.
Excellent.
Yeah, we finished performing in Kenya. We performed in a massive hall full of, I think it was about 2,000, 3,000 school children watching that performance, and they were an amazing audience. And we went and sang. We then left the place, and we went out with all the people, all the musicians that came from the UK, and all of the guys from Kenya as well. And we were told that the way to celebrate, the way that they all celebrate there, is to have an arm wrestle.
Oh my God!
And just bear in mind here, we were still in Kenya, pretty much not in the middle of nowhere, but we were kind of out into the countryside. We weren't near the capital or anything, and they suggested that I had an arm wrestle with my drummer, Adam, who I lived with at the time. And we're pretty similar build. We both went to the gym together, so pretty similar strength. So I said, do you know what? We live together. I think we have enough contact without having to arm wrestle, but we'll do it, if we have to.
Yeah.
So the reason we were doing it as well is we were waiting for the news program to come on with our performance kind of broadcast on there. So we were sitting around waiting, and I sat down to have an arm wrestle. I was turning round to the side, so twisting around in my seat, saying to people, why are we doing this or whatever. And probably it can't have been more than 20 seconds into this arm wrestle with no real movement. My arm literally snapped.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Now, apparently it happens quite a lot. Apparently there's a lot of YouTube videos of it happening. And it's usually the forearm. It's usually the bit nearest to your hand that breaks. But the bit that broke on my arm was actually my upper arm. And it was a big break. And apparently the sound around the street and everything, people thought there'd been like some kind of gunshot or something.
Oh, wow.
It was such a big sound.
Have you since then become a big fan of calcium? Because
Well, do you know what? I mean, the first thing that the Kenyan people said to me when everyone that saw me was like, you need to eat more beef or whatever. And I was like, I don't think that's the reason. So I was in Kenya, in the middle of nowhere in a country that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And absolutely like a miracle. I got on a taxi and said, take me to the hospital. And there was a hospital that was open, and at that time of night open as well. Probably, I mean, I don't really know because I was in such pain, but probably within 10 minutes. Now, we were lucky because, as you can imagine, if you happen to be in the wrong area, it could have been an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to the nearest hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they were really nice. They spoke very, very good English. It was actually the cleanest hospital I've ever been in. And that's over English hospitals and ones in London I ended up going to. So they put my arm in a cast, a very strong cast, which I was told when I got back to the UK was very, very high quality. And they couldn't believe that it was done. I was sitting on a garden chair in a corridor, and they were doing the mix in like a cake mixing bowl.
Oh my God!
So they did a fantastic job, but I chose to not have an operation there in Kenya. I didn't want to be stuck there, and also with various things they have, yellow fever and things. Right. I was advised not to.
Yeah, I was also thinking, is healthcare free there? Like, would that have cost?
Yeah,
if
it did cost. It was actually very affordable. Not that you'd want to do it every month, but it was. I was in there in a private room actually overnight, and it came to about £300, which I thought was very, very affordable for the whole thing. Looking after me and everything.
Right.
But the worst thing was, obviously, it's a very hard cast on my arm. I had to travel back via Ethiopia on a 14-hour flight, and the little screens with the films on the chair in front of you. My forehead was stuck to that screen for 14 hours because I wasn't comfortable in any other way.
What did you watch?
Well, the inside of my eyelids.
Oh my God!
But Yeah, hopefully people aren't too squeamish, but the thing I actually had inside the cast was whenever my body moved and turned around to the left, my arm didn't turn to the left. So I actually had to, if I wanted to kind of walk in a certain direction, I had to like turn my arm around to go with me. Now, when I got back to the UK, after a good 14-hour flight, I was told in a London hospital that all the staff were actually on holiday because it was August.
Wow.
So I had to wait for 14 days for anyone to look at it. So I then spent 14 days in an armchair in my lounge, sleeping there as well. But in the meantime, I had festivals and I had shows. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to play just with my left hand, which was the good arm. And I started playing rock and roll and things at festivals. And I thought, do you know what? I can't play rock and roll just with my left hand. It feels, it's not in the spirit of the music. So my sling started to come over, and I unclipped it and I started to play. And actually, I think in the long term, it was actually quite good at keeping the movement and the muscles going in my hand, because I was told a few months later that actually, if I hadn't done that, I may have lost full use of my right hand anyway.
Rob, that's an extraordinary story. I'll tell you what, huge respects for that. That is amazing. Not many people would continue to do stuff like that or continue to be in good spirits after an event like that. Yeah. That's amazing.
This reminds me of of a story with I don't know if you remember, if you were keeping up, but Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters.
Yes, yeah.
When he snapped his leg and he kept the tour going, he played the remainder of the tour literally just like sitting down with his cast up.
Well, I think I might have had some kind of inspiration from something like that, because one part of the story that I left out is you sound like you may be into this kind of thing, but the Winter Soldier from
yes, yeah.
I was actually given a Maasai cape, a Maasai shawl that they wear. By one of the guys, which was really, really kind.
Yeah, I know.
So I was actually wearing that shawl whilst my arm was broken in a big cast. And my hair was quite long at the time.
Bucky
Barnes.
So you looked like Bucky.
I literally looked like Bucky when he's in Wakanda for a while. So I think people maybe thought, I was at some kind of a promotion for Marvel. But but I actually realised when I was lying in the hospital bed, I realised that I'd done one out of the two performances, and I was on various drugs and morphine and things, and I actually got out of bed. Despite being in pain, and I thought, do you know what? I've come all this way. I've learnt these songs in Swahili, and people have bought it as genuine. So I'm not letting someone else do the performance. So I actually got a taxi back to the performance, went on stage, performed a second time, and then came off stage and collapsed.
Oh God!
Wow.
So I was my brain was that keen on really delivering what I'd gone out to do. Which I kind of feel that that's, we have a nice life as artists and musicians, and I feel like if where possible I try and not let my personal life come into the performance.
Absolutely,
and
man.
even if I've had the worst day ever, it's always great to go on and perform as you intended. Really,
yeah, man. Obviously, health comes first, and I wish such accidents in the future when you're performing live again.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean. Does anyone else have anything else to ask, Rob?
That's it.
I'm pretty much done. You didn't answer my second question about which artist you're currently listening to.
Well, I thought it'd be might be a quite nice little promotion. I actually have a playlist.
Okay.
Under Chasing Deer on Spotify. And it's called Fresh Picks.
Awesome. Yeah.
And
we can link that.
I put my favourite artists into there. I haven't updated it for a while.
Good.
There's a few great artists on there, people I've worked with, people that I'm maybe hinting to them that I'd love to work with by adding them to my playlist. So if any of them are listening, if you're on there, I want to write with you. But there's people, friends and people like Last One Home, a great band.
Yeah.
There are people from Pride, such as Dorian, who are really, really good. And then Barry Locke, Ace Ambrose. There's so many people, and you'll find them all on the Fresh Picks.
That is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so very much for coming to this episode. I've had so much fun with you, and you're just an amazing guy.
We all have enjoyed your company. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I really hope I get to see you perform live again.
Well, that would be amazing.
Before I let you plug yourself to oblivion, just like we always do on Faffing with Friends, I want to say that when the new album from Chasing Deer releases, I will be reviewing it, and I will be buying the vinyl, and I will be putting it on my blog, Ivaylos, which is the most quirky and creative name you can think of, and which is, I post there on every Sunday, and every Tuesday Aaron posts there. I'm sure you guys met Aaron as well. And yeah, I mean, if you guys want to check it out, a Chasing Deer review will be on it in the hopefully near future when the album drops.
Amazing.
So it was great having you on, Rob. Thank you so much for joining us.
No worries, it's been fun.
Excellent. If you could please go ahead and plug yourself. We'll also have all the links that you're going to mention in the description on the podcast platforms and on YouTube, so people can very easily find you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so you can find Chasing Deer on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We're pretty much everywhere, so just look for Chasing Deer, and it tends to be Chasing Deer or Chasing Deer Band. You can also find the vinyl record at chasingdeerband.com, as well as a brand new merchandise collection that I've released over lockdown.
Awesome. And
Excellent.
That's pretty much it. If you guys want to listen to more Faffing with Friends, please like, subscribe to us.
You know what to do.
Yes,
We've
you know
been
what to
saying
do.
this
Ring the
20
bells.
weeks now.
Ring the bells.
Ring the bells.
Subscribe to us, and we're literally on every single platform you can imagine for listening, even the minor ones, YouTube, Spotify. We're literally everywhere. Please tell your friends, family, relatives, your cousin Randy. Your cousin Randy loves listening to us. We can absolutely confirm. And yeah.
I just want to mention to everybody that we'll be taking a break.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with a bonus episode. And then we'll be taking a break again before we come back for another 10 episodes or so.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed the little break. Get a break from us. And we're going to be setting up a Patreon. Just a little heads up. So if you guys want to begin supporting us at some point, that would be great too. Yeah, all right. Absolutely. I've been Joe.
I've been Ivaylo. And we've had the amazing Rob from Chasing Deer join us. Thank you very much, Rob.
Yeah, and I've been Lawrence, the guy Ivaylo fucking forgot was his co-host.
I'm sorry, Lawrence. I'm sorry. How can we forget you? I'm just focused on the guests,
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, thank you so much, Rob, for being here.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
And all the best for the future.
Guys.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.